I think maybe I can marry one Chinese. If you say you are from Africa, it's too difficult. But if you say you are from France, from America, you can get.
In recent years, among the international students studying in China, the number of African students has become increasingly common, while there hasn't been a significant increase in students from Western countries. Why is this phenomenon occurring? Recently, 2 interviewed students from impoverished African countries stated that their monthly expenses in China are over 18,000 RMB. This video raised questions among Chinese netizens. Where does the money come from?
In
Hangzhou for tourism or work?
We are here for studying.
Are you both international students?
Yes,
What is your major?
civil engineering.
What is your monthly expense?
Over 18,000 yuan.
Wow, that's a high expense. Which country are you from?
Democratic Republic of Congo.
What do you think about China?
China is good.
The Democratic Republic of Congo is one of the poorest countries in the world, with a per capita GDP of less than $600. However, these 2 Congolese students studying in Hangzhou have monthly expenses of over 18,000 RMB, about 2,500 USD, leading to questions from Chinese people. Chinese university students don't even spend this much money in 6 months, right? It's strange how impoverished Congolese people come to China and suddenly become rich. Where does the money come from? Some Chinese netizens angrily said, "I can't earn 18,000 yuan even after working hard for a month. I'm a sophisticated girl with a decent family background, and I can't spend that much money in a month. How are they spending it? Shouldn't some departments reflect on this?" Many netizens mocked that China is subsidizing African students with taxpayers' hard-earned money. Scholarships? Isn't it more like subsidies? They get a subsidy of 300,000 RMB. Another person said they can receive a living allowance of 300,000 RMB during their year in China. The low-income people from Africa have become rich by studying in China. Recently, Tsinghua University in Beijing announced that the subsidies for foreign students have once again increased, totaling more than 300,000 RMB. According to the Tsinghua University funding list disclosed by netizens, Tsinghua University provides a maximum annual scholarship of 200,000 RMB to international students, as well as a living allowance of 96,000 RMB. The dormitories for international students are much more luxurious than those for Chinese domestic students, and sometimes Chinese students are arranged to accompany them. The special treatment given to international students at Tsinghua University has caused many Chinese students to feel aggrieved and dissatisfied. According to annual budget data released by the Chinese Ministry of Education, the budget for international education in China was 3.9 billion RMB in 2019, slightly decreasing to 3.8 billion RMB after the outbreak of the pandemic in 2020. According to the official website of the Chinese Ministry of Education, foreign students can apply for at least 10 government scholarships. The funding for international students includes tuition fees, accommodation fees, living expenses, comprehensive medical insurance fees, and international travel expenses. At the same time, the extremely low admission standards have led to a mixed group of students studying in China, especially among students from African countries who have been involved in controversies among Chinese young people. A counselor at a Chinese university once revealed online that the private lives of African students are chaotic. Male black students on campus are like being in an emperor's harem. This is not an exaggeration. According to my observation, the male black student in our class changes his Chinese girlfriend on average every month. Last year, Shandong University in China was exposed to assign 3 female study companions to 1 international student. Many universities in China have also organized similar activities. Netizens criticized, "This is solicitation. Are these shameless rules proposed by human beings? Is it a university?" A former female study companion at Shandong University revealed in a post that she chose to accompany an African student from the Democratic Republic of Congo in order to receive the school's subsidy and reduce the burden on her family. At first, their relationship was fine, but during a weekend gathering, those African students revealed their ugly side. If the study companion refused to attend the gathering, the international student would complain to the school, citing racial discrimination and other reasons. The consequence of the complaint was that the study companion would have points deducted and lose the subsidy. According to her disclosure, there was once a gathering with over 20 international students and 20 female study companions, all of whom were attractive girls from disadvantaged backgrounds. During the gathering, many girls who couldn't drink were forced to drink, and one study companion was slapped in public by an international student for refusing to drink. At that time, the study companion felt angry and wanted to leave the private room with the slapped girl, but the international student she accompanied stopped her and acted aggressively. They struggled and were only able to leave with the help of the waiter and the manager. Regarding this matter, the online edition of the official Chinese media People's Daily's People's Network published an article criticizing Shandong University's favoritism toward foreign students, saying, "Either they have an inferiority complex or they are delusional."
旁边干活的民工都看傻了，而这个视频的评论区啊，有谴责黑人男子不该动手的，也有说他被女友逼到绝望才动手的，也有好奇啊，动手的是中国男生，评论区会怎么样的？
Not only students, many African people now choose to stay in China. In the Guangzhou subway, half a train car is filled with Africans. Not far away, a black young man takes out his phone and seems to be taking a selfie. Many Guangzhou residents have become accustomed to this situation. Although it may seem unbelievable, this has long been the situation in many areas of Guangzhou. If you happen to be on the streets of Guangzhou, you will find that the number of Africans passing by exceeds your imagination. According to statistics provided by the Guangzhou Public Security Bureau in 2018, the number of African migrant workers in China exceeded 350,000. They include men, women, old, young, and even some who brought their families to China. So why is the Chinese government willing to sponsor young people from Africa to study in China? Early on, during the initial years of the founding of the People's Republic of China, China implemented a diplomatic strategy of relying on Asia, Africa, and Latin America to counter the dominance of the United States and the Soviet Union. The aim was to make long-term investments in these countries to gain future support and returns. This included providing funding for people from these countries to study and further their education in Chinese higher education institutions. These students were generally individuals with certain backgrounds in their own countries. It is said that in the 1980s, during an internal conflict in a certain African country, most of the military officers on both sides were graduates of Chinese military academies. Furthermore, many high-ranking officials in African countries are also graduates of Chinese universities. They would either become local high-ranking officials or military officers or inherit family businesses. In simple terms, at that time, individuals with a certain social status in African countries were able to come to China for further studies. However, with the collapse of the Soviet Union and the change in the bipolar hegemonic structure between the US and the USSR, China's cities began to develop vigorously, and its national strength gradually increased, making it the world's second largest economy. China's current pursuit has shifted towards global influence. There is an ancient saying that there is no such thing as a free lunch. Africa's resources are extremely abundant, especially mineral resources. Most African countries have joined China's Belt and Road Initiative, and the strategy of recruiting talented students with the potential for deep cooperation with China is just one part of it. Relatively speaking, African countries provide natural resources to China at highly favorable prices, some of which are among the most important strategic resources of the 21st century. China's investments in Asia, Africa, and Latin America have also yielded tremendous returns. Moreover, in the military field, China has established long-term cooperation with various African countries. China is the world's fourth largest arms exporter, and its main focus is on providing affordable, durable, and reliable equipment. Chinese-style equipment is already widespread in Africa. Educational cooperation is only a part of this landscape. Prior to the Belt and Road Initiative, the number of black students from Africa studying in China was relatively small, and most of them were exchange students. After African countries joined the Belt and Road Initiative, educational cooperation and talent development through studying abroad with China were promoted. To this end, China has established an education system suitable for African students, including tuition fee discounts and scholarship systems. China has the highest number of black students studying in Asia, and if compared to Europe, the number is second only to France. Currently, many Chinese universities offer extremely generous benefits, including full tuition waivers, living expenses, comprehensive medical insurance, and even the lowest scholarships starting from over 60,000 RMB to 100,000 RMB, all aimed at encouraging African students. In addition, the number of international students is an important indicator for ranking universities in China. Therefore, some universities admit a large number of international students, and they may even lower admission standards to stabilize the number of international students. This includes aspects such as study abroad costs, where China is much cheaper than developed countries in Europe and America. In most cases, although universities may provide some preferential measures for foreign students, they generally do not show significant bias. After all, if they truly admit students who do not study well and cause trouble in the future, it will damage the reputation of the university. Every time such incidents occur, they spark debates in China, especially regarding the issue of providing high subsidies and scholarships to African students. Many Chinese believe local Chinese students study hard for years, work hard to get into university, and need to pay for their education by their parents, while these foreigners can easily study for free, even with generous scholarships and various subsidies. It is unfair, they said.